You can remember the things from the old times compared to the one that I did last month. I can't remember what I did last month or what I ate, you know. But, things like from childhood up to the time, that I remember all of them. Isn't that something, I think when you're getting old, those good memories always comes back to you. You don't really, yeah, you don't really forget them. And it's always there. It's always there. Okay, I am Betty Salvacion. I am 81 this year. Will be 82 next year, which is kind of old. I was born in the Philippines. My birthday is May 22, 1939. Okay, well, I grew up in the Philippines. That's in Manila. I was born in Manila in 1939, of course, and I'm the oldest of the 6 children that my parents have. Well, there's 3 boys and 3 girls. I'm the oldest one. Very close family, and at that time when I was born, we are very conservative. The Philippines is really noted for being so conservative, and we follow strictly what our parents tells us. We have good respect for them. We never answer back them. Because if you answer back, you're going to get punished by not giving you whatever you want. So that's how we grew up. We grew up like in the army. That, well, I consider that because my father was a lawyer, and that's the reason why, and then my mother is a pharmacist, but my mother never worked. Well, she worked a little bit, when I was the only child. But then when children came along, then she started staying home, taking care of the 6 children, and we have a housemaid that helps my mom in taking care of all of us. Okay, well, the favorite thing I really do when I was growing up is going swimming, going swimming like in a fresh water, and this was in the province, because the water is crystal clear, it's not salty, and it's the water is coming from the mountain. So during the summer, we normally go home to Paite Laguna, and then we go to Los Baños, which is like a hot spring, and there's like cottages there. And then they serve you food. You rent it for 1 week, and then there's food that they serve. And the hot spring water is really, really good. And that's one of my favorite things. And then after that, we'll go climb to the mountain and pick up some favorite fruits that we want, the lanzones. Well, lanzon is very famous in my province because it's the sweetest fruit. They call it lanzones. So I remember growing up, and climbing into the mountain, and then picking up all those things. And that was really a very good experience for me. And then all my siblings at that time have been, with us, and we are all going there, and then we stay there in the mountain. It's like a cottage there, and then we just stay there maybe for the weekend, and then come down again. Those are mostly. And then when we go back to the Manila again, to the city, my favorite pastime is playing with the scooter. I love the scooter. And I'm very good with that. I can balance myself. And skating. We go to a place where a lot of people skate, not the ice, it's the skating. And we go, and I can really do all these different things like, going around and making, all of us are doing that. Those are funny things that we have done, when we were growing up, and with some friends too. So, and then I like to play badminton, which is one of my favorite too. And then bowling. I love bowling. I'm a very active person when I was growing up. I love sports. And that's why all my siblings almost followed what I'm doing. They always consider me like their model. Whatever I do, they do it. So all my brothers and sisters, except for my other sister, Tita Len, she's kind of like a little bit more like very conservative. But the rest of them, the boys, I play with my brothers, doing all those things, and climbing trees. I tell you, I do a lot of stupid things when I was growing up. But I enjoy it. I'm more like a tomboyist. That's what, that's what my friends say. I love to play with those marbles, those little marbles, and I beat all these boys, because you put it like in a hole or something like, and I was very good with that. And that was really one of the things that I really enjoy very well. Now with the family, well, we go to Los Baños, to the province. We go to the hot spring. That's mostly what we always do, every summer until everyone went to college and, things get separated already. And then when everyone comes home, we always make sure that everybody is home for Christmas. We are not going to do anything until everyone is home. And also, when we were growing up, everybody has to be home by 6 o'clock, wherever you are, so everybody can have dinner together. And we won't start dinner. That's how my father is, very, very strict. And if you're late in coming home, then you get grounded, or he will say, okay, you cannot do this anymore, you are not going to do this, for 1 week, something like that. So we are very, very good about following it. I grew up in a parochial school. That's where I went, in a parochial school. I think we only have up to grade 6 in the Philippines at that time. We don't have the grade 8. And then you go towards the high school already. But then when I was going to my first year high school, the mother of my mom wanted me to stay with them in the province because my mom is the only child they have, and I think they would like me to stay with them and my sisters so they can have some experience with us. So my sister and I stayed there for 2 years, and we went to school there for 2 years. And I left the parochial school, and I went to the school in the province. Well, of course, I'm not very happy about that, because I would rather go to the parochial school and in a big city, but of course I follow. I'm a very good daughter, I'm a very good granddaughter. Whatever they say, we just follow. You cannot say no if they say that. That's the way we were, during that time. It's not very difficult, but you grew up like that, so it's like a common thing for us to have that. So then when I graduated from high school, 2 years being there in the province, so my mom and dad came for my graduation, and that's the first time I have a dance with a guy in high school. We never have any prom. It was just like a graduation, and then followed with like a ballroom dance. So my mom and dad were there. They were actually there. All the parents were there because they are watching their kids. That's that's how it is. And so my mom said, "Boy, I cannot believe that you will be going to college already." And she was just like in tears, after the graduation. And then after that, I left the province, and that's Paite, Laguna, and then went to the big city and live in Manila, And that's when I went to the University of the East for my accounting degree. So that was 4 years. So ever since, I never went back to the province again. And then when my grandmother died there, then I come to visit them like maybe every summer, once in a while, but not all the time, because my life seems to be more geared now to the big city rather than the province. I know I got a lot of trouble, but I cannot remember what trouble I got into. Wait, I'm just trying to remember, Sometimes I lie, where I went, because sometimes they will ask me, well, it's already 7 o'clock in the evening, school has been done since 4 o'clock, where were you, And then actually I was really with all my girlfriends, and we are all going into this nice restaurant for like, what do you call this? Like in between meals, like the snacks, and we love our favorite food there. And we do that sometimes after school, and we stay there for 2 hours. And we don't have any phone at that time. I mean, I cannot call my mom or that I'll be late, coming home, because that was in the 1930s, 40s, 50. That was really the old timers, 1950s, So when I get home, I got into trouble because of that, not telling them before I left for school that I'll be late. But if I say that to them, they won't allow me. And that's why I just go. Yeah, I sneak once in a while, but not to the point wherein my father will really punish me for a long time. But once in a while I have to do it. I'm not good too. I'm also a sneaker, and I think this is one reason why one of why my daughter's a sneaker too. Okay. Is the word sneaker good?
It's good.
That's
I
that's
love that.
that's my own that's my own word. Sneaker, sneaking. I never have any job even when I finished college. Because once we are done with school, it's mostly really enjoying your summer. And my parents never allow us, none of us, to look for a job. Yeah, we are all staying at home, and then we all go out together, for wherever we have to do some pleasure things or vacationing, things like that. We go to one resort, which is probably, I would say, maybe 30 miles away from the province where my parents grew up. And this swimming pool is really, the water is coming from the mountain too. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a swimming pool the water coming from the mountain, and it's so crystal clear, but cold. It's not, but it's cold, but it's so clean and very, very crystal clear. You can really see your penny there. It's just I can remember all those things. And then after that we eat. They serve all different types of Filipino food. You can have that. And then after that, I think we go bowling. Those are fun things, but doing it with the whole family. Not with friends. But we get some friends, but they do it with their own family too. But then we get together. If we have to go eat together, then we just do that. But those are the things that 2 months of vacation during the summer. That's what we do. Or we go up to Baguio City, which is the summer capital of the Philippines, because it's cooler there. During the summer, the place where we live is so hot and humid, 90 degrees, and the humidity is almost 100%. That's why you really have to wear something that's really, really light during the summer. So we go up there. It's a lot of 3 hours, 4 hours drive going up there. And I know my son was able to go there, I believe, during the time when they visited the Philippines. I'm not really sure, but I think he remembers that we are going up there when he was still single, when he was not married yet. Tita Joy and him went there with my brother. Yeah, that I remember. That was on the last year of my college when I have my boyfriend, my first one. I only have one actually, and then I broke up with him. But this guy is so insistent, he keeps following me, and I don't, I said, I cannot have any boyfriend until I'm really graduated from college, So don't keep following me, But he will wait until my class is over, and then he will be standing there because I normally take the jeep, going home. This is the transportation we have in the Philippines. And then he will ride with me in the jeepney, And then when I go down, then he will not, go with me home because he knows my dad will be very, very mad about that, But that was the last, on my last year of college when I had my first boyfriend, And then, so now I'm free to have a boyfriend because I'm already graduated because that's what my father wants. Nobody will have any boyfriend until you're done in college, And if you have a boyfriend, no kissing. That's how we are. No kissing, no hanky-panky. Maybe you can hold hands. That's the only thing you can do. And if I caught you doing that, then you will be stranded at home for a month. I mean, he's like an army man, really, But I think I really appreciate what he did, So, yeah, that was my first boyfriend. And then, okay, one more I have to ask to tell you this. If we have to go someplace else, I have to have a chaperone. I have chaperone, I have to have either my sister or my brother with me, with him. I cannot go out without anybody, with my boyfriend. If you have to eat in a restaurant, my sister has to be with me. Or if you have to go see a movie, either my brother or my sister will be with me. I cannot go out alone with my boyfriend. Well, I went to college in 1955, right after high school graduation. I enrolled myself right away, the University of the East, which is in Manila. And at first, I was telling my father, I said, I would like to enroll in law school, I want to be a lawyer like you. That's what I was telling my father, And then my father said, no, it's hard for a girl to be a lawyer because you'll be fighting with all these men, and you don't know how to lie. And if you don't know how to lie, then you can never be a good lawyer, This is how you win your case, This is what my father was telling me, But I have watched my father when I was in high school, when he is, during the summer that I was home already, he is so good, he's a criminal lawyer. My father's a criminal lawyer. And he can really turn white to black or black to white. He was able to have people who are really committing bad ones, to be absolved or to be, And so when I started seeing all those things, I said to I don't want to be a lawyer like you. I want to be more like a corporate lawyer, maybe, or a state lawyer or whatever. But I don't want to defend people who are really guilty. I said, I don't like what you're doing. I told that to my brother, to my father, because you will lie really, but he's a very good liar, and that's why he wins the case all the time. And not to brag about my father, when he graduated from the bar, from the University of the Philippines, which is the best university for lawyers, he was the top notch. He was the number one, in the class, and he graduated with the flying colors. And when he took the bar, he just passed it with no problem. That's why I said he was really a very good lawyer. And when I was just trying to maybe try to be like my father, but he was right. He was right. It will not be good for me. I did not like it when I started seeing all these guilty people, getting absolved. And I said, I don't think I will really be like that. I cannot lie to all the things that it's wrong, but you're still, well, that's how I make my living, hon, If I don't make my living like that, I have 6 children, I have to put through college, and your mom is staying home and raising the kids, because lawyers at that time, are paid very well, Some people will pay him like one apartment building if they don't have the cash, some material things instead of money, That's how it was in the Philippines at that time, So, so anyway, so he said, why don't you be an accountant? I think that will be good for you. You know, for a woman, I think that would be good for you. It's all numbers, but you're good with math, with arithmetic, when you are in high school. So I thought about it, and I said, well, is there anything that you think, I could go into? He said, do you want to be a teacher? I said, no, I don't think I have patience. Which is true, I said, you have to be really patient with children, if you want to be a teacher. And I don't think I have that, I'm more the aggressive type. And so that's why I went to accounting. That's how I ended up in accounting, because of that. And then I'm glad I did it, and that's how I met your Lolo. Without being an accountant, I will never meet your Lolo. So anyway, when I was in college, my first year college, there was a lot of activities like what you're probably doing with sorority and things like that. I went to be a member of the debating club. I love to debate all the time. And then I went to. I was also a member of the what do you call it? That. Oh, it's like the acting guild, I can't remember the name of the club. Oh God, the drama. Yeah, we have a name there, and I cannot remember. But I love to act too, and then I like the debating club. I always joined that for my 4 years that I was in college. And then I also joined doing some athletic things, that I don't know. I'm not good with it though, but I'm very busy. I feel myself like if I have free time, I do that. And with the debating club, oh, I just love debating. They will give us a certain topic, and then you debate with 3 or 4 people with that, But there's no shouting there, It's debating, And I just love doing that, That's why I said I could have been a good lawyer if I had been a lawyer, And then with the acting, I love to act because my mom is really a good actress. Up to age 83, she was always joining the church, the church club for any show that they have as an actress there. And she's very good. She's 83. She was 83 years old. And I love acting too, So I might have gotten it from my mom, And then, it's, and some of my friends, and I only deal with friends who are really good. I don't deal with dumbbells, And I don't deal with negative people. If I found the person that I'm dealing with as so negative, I just don't associate with them. That's how I was, when I was growing up, I'm so picky with the people that I associate with, in college, So, and I want to be like people who are really like in the honor roll, things that will really give me motivation to be in that, category too. So I graduated in 1959. We only have 4 years of college, and we did not have like up to 12th grade, we passed that. So we skipped 2 years and went to high school and then college, So when I first graduated from college, my uncle, which is my dad's, brother, knows somebody who is working in a construction company, And so he told my brother, he told my dad that maybe you can have Betty, go there as an apprentice since she just graduated from college, and I can give her, a good recommendation. And so this is what, my uncle did, So I went there, for interview, and I said, I have not worked at all. This is just my first job, and I'm doing like an apprenticeship, for this, And they said, well, you'll be fine since you're fresh from college, you know. So that was my first job. It was my dad who really brought me to go into that job, you know. And then the first job that I got, that's where I met your Lolo. He was he was the office manager of of that construction company, you know. And he graduated already from college, you know, because he's older than me. And so he interviewed me, but very briefly, not really a lot. You know, he was so quiet. He was a very quiet man, you know. And of course, he's the boss. He's the office manager, and I'm coming in like an apprentice, you know. So anyway, he was there for about a year and one half in the construction company, and then after that he quit. He quit the job, you know. So I didn't hear anything from him, but I was still working there, you know. And then all of a sudden, in the blue, after 1.5 years, he called me. And I said, do you mind if I borrow some of your books? Because you got all the most current books since you just graduated, you know. And I said, oh, sure, you know, I got all my books, you know. And then he said, can you give me your address, you know, so I can, you know, so I can, pick it up at your place, you know. I said, well, of course, you know. And so I just, I just give him the address, and so he came for the first time in my house, you know. And well, he chatted with my parents first. He's very good. He's very, very polite, very courteous to my parents, you know. And my mom liked him a lot right away. I said, Mom, he's just getting the books. What are you? Why are you already insinuating something? You know, he just wanted to borrow my books, you know. Okay, well, that's the way it is all the time, you know. That's how my mom is. She's funny too, you know. So I gave her, I don't know how many books I gave him, you know, the most current one that I was using. And then he started doing his own accounting practice with a partner. And I did not really pay attention to any of what he's doing because that was the first time he came, you know, and saw him after 1.5 years that I have not seen him, you know. So I continued working with the company, you know, where I was sent by my uncle. And then when his company is getting a little, you know, I mean, going better already, and he will be needing some more help, you know. And then that's when, he called me. And he said, well, would you like to work for our company, you know? And I said, oh. I said, why, is your company established already, you know? Because I want to make sure I got my salary, you know. And he said, well, it's getting there. That's why we need some help now, you know. I mean, you know, we will be doing mostly the IRS because that's what they do. They represent clients for the IRS. And you'll be just like doing work in the office, you know. And I have my sister, which is Tita Alice, you know, who will be part of the bookkeeping and the accounting, you know. The two of you will be working there together, you know. So I said, oh, yeah, sure, you know. So I went and worked for him, you know, for maybe for a couple of years. And then I said, I want to be more in a big company because I want to have bonuses, I want to have profit sharing and other, you know. In order to get that, you have to be in a very big company, you know. And he understood it, you know, and he said, no, I can understand what you're saying, you know. So I just went. And I went to this company, which is, it is a financing company also, you know, where I went. If you don't hop, you will never improve yourself. That's how I felt about it, you know. And that's why I keep jumping from one job to another job to better myself, you know. And every time I hop into something, I always increase my salary. Yeah, I would say I have 9 different jobs that I went before I retired from this company, you know. I went to a construction company, and then I went to an accounting office, And then I went to the University of Illinois. I was working there as a government contract administrator, which I don't know anything about it, but I still applied for the job. And I passed the test. So, so I got the job, and I was competing with the fresh graduate, with competing, getting the job, and they hired me because I have a few experience already in accounting. Government contract. I have no knowledge about government contract, but I still applied for it. But I was already married at that time, and then from government contract, I went to an agricultural company, and then agricultural company, I went to construction company again, and then I went to the piping. This is where John is working now, the piping, which is the construction, the piping and plumbing company. That was my last job, really, But I have been I went to Kellogg's too. I can't remember. I have so many jobs. But just keep accelerating it and then pretend that you know a lot, even though you don't. Yeah, this is the way I am. Then my mom, said, I'd like to have a little business, maybe we should move to a different place. So I would like to have like a store, like a mini grocery store, because she's getting bored, because all of us are getting, older already, And so we moved to a different place. And then Lolo, said, I tried to go to your house, but there's nobody there, And then I said, oh, we moved to a different address, And so I gave it to him, He said, because I want to return the books already, So, and then can I borrow some more of your books, because I still need all those, because, I'm so junior compared to him, And so I gave him the address. So he started going there once a month. He's always going there, visiting just the family. He said it's the family that is visiting. He will bring food. He will bring fried chicken. He will bring donuts. He will bring any kind of food, every time he comes and visit, And that's why, all my brothers and sisters and my family just love him because he's so courteous, very polite, and, he's just so swell. And then my mom kept saying, if he wants to court you, please consider him because he's really good, That's what my mom is saying. I said, Mom, I'm going with this guy, the guy that you're going with is no good. He's going to make your life miserable. He's a very possessive guy, He doesn't really want anybody to be around you, And you're such a very sociable person. How are you going to be living if your husband is going to be so strict like that, And I said, well, I was 18, 19 years old, So it was hard for me to just break up like that, And he said, well, just keep it in mind. You're not getting ready yet to get married. You just graduated from college, But it took 5 years. Actually, Lolo has been coming to our house for 5 years, And that was really, but that's only once a month that he comes, But he never fails. He comes once a month, just to visit the family. And even all my aunts and uncles who have met him, they keep saying to me, Betty, he's a very good man. You should really go. And then I have other suitors too at that time, There are times when I have 3 men in the house. And these are from college, And then my former one, And then that's not including your Lolo, There's 4 of them. One is from Batangas. One is from Quezon City. I said, I'm not even pretty. I don't know why these guys are going over me. It's not, And then my mom said, because of your personality, that's why they're going after you, I said, yeah, but there's a lot of beautiful girls there, I don't know. They will come, and then the 3 of them will be sitting there, And I said and then they will say, what is, we have like different names for each one of them. My brothers and sisters say, one is just the only son, You know, he came from a very good, wealthy family, but he's so dark, you know. I mean, his complexion is really dark. You know, he's Filipino, but he's very dark, you know. Now, the other one is more like, he's like, your dad doesn't know anything about this. This is the first time. Then the other one is from Cavite, you know, and he has two siblings, but he's kind of like shy, but you know, but he has such a nice voice. He really is a good singer too, you know. And then the other one's the one I told you, he's always wearing white, you know. That's so. I mean, whenever they come, you know, so they would just talk, you know. I said, I'll introduce each one of them, and I said, why are you guys coming here at the same time? And then they said, well, I thought because it's Saturday and Sunday at the visiting time, you know, and you don't know when they're coming because there's, I mean, we got phone, but you know, they don't call on the phone or something. All of a sudden, you will see that somebody's out there, you know. So you have to let them in, you know, and so that's how it goes with all this, and then they met finally. My husband, you know, your Lolo. So the four of them are there, you know, and so your Lolo saw the three of them, you know, and then he said, "Wow, you got a lot of suitors." He said, "No, they're not suitors. They're just visiting." Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, they will not visit you if they're not after you, you know. And I said, "Yeah, but they're mostly friends, you know." And I said, "I got my boyfriend here, you know." So I was telling that to my, yeah, I know who your boyfriend is. For 5 years, you know, Lolo has been coming all the time, you know. And then finally, I finally got mad of that boyfriend when he went into the extreme that I did not really like, you know. My uncle, you know, because, you know, I mean, all of us always hug each other, you know, all my family. You know, he gets jealous with my, you know, with my brothers when I hug my brothers, you know, and then my uncle, and then this uncle of mine, he was there, but my uncle of mine, because he has not seen me for a long time. Oh, Betty, I didn't see you. So he hugged me and he just put me up like that. Boy, he didn't like that. And he said, why is he doing that? I said, he's my uncle. What are you talking about, you know? I mean, he should not be doing that. And then I said, you know what? Her name is Henaro, you know. I said, you know, your attitude is really getting into my nerve already, you know. You're such a very possessive guy. I don't think I can really go with you anymore. I just told him that, you know. And I said, you know, I'm a very sociable person. I love talking to people. I love to be with people. I love to go parties, you know. And I love to be, you know, doing a lot of things, you know, with my friends, you know. But you are the type who doesn't really do that, you know. We are incompatible. I don't think something will happen with this, you know. So it's better for us to be maybe just go apart, you know. Let's forget about this whole thing. And we were going instead for like 2 or 3 years, you know. And then I just did that, you know. And I think, I don't know if my mom told your Lolo that I broke up with him already, you know. I was not really sure how did he found out that I broke up with him, you know. Maybe, I don't know how he found out. That's one thing I cannot remember how he found out, you know. And he said, oh, is that why you broke with him? He said, well, he has been with you for a while now. You have been steady. Oh, I know, but I cannot live like that, you know. You know my personality, you know. So we were talking about that, you know. And then he said, yeah, that makes sense, you know. I mean, you know, your Lord is so meek and humble and will not say anything bad about him, you know, or something. Yeah, he was so, I mean, he was so courteous all the time, you know. He was so polite, very, very proper with the way he talks, you know. And then I finally opened up my eyes and I said, I think my family is really right about him, you know. And then all my uncles, my family, everyone who had met him already have always said that he is the right guy for you, you know. And so he started coming, and then finally he proposed. He proposed already. You know, I've been coming here for so many years, and I'm sure you probably know why I keep coming even though you are having this guy with you, you know, because I still have the feeling, you know, that you will probably broke up with him, knowing how he is, what kind of person he is, because I think my mom is telling him, you know, about this guy, you know. And so he was very loyal, very persistent, you know, and really did not lose any kind of hope, you know, that things might change in the long run. That's why we got married after 6 years that I have known him. I mean, going to the house, you know. And when he proposed, after 3 months, he wants to get married already. And I said to him, oh, wow, that was fast. No, it was not fast. It's been 5, 6 years. And then I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to tell you something, you know. When I was born, a friend of my mom, who is a Chinese, you know, look at my palm. And then he said to my mom, this daughter of yours will go abroad. He will leave the country. And then when he's abroad, you know, but before that, he will get married here in the Philippines, you know, because he will be married by the time he go abroad, you know. But, you know, she will be very successful in her marriage, you know, if she will get married with somebody with this sign, and that's a Sagittarius, you know. And he was saying too that if she gets married on the day of Wednesday, that's why Wednesday is my lucky day, Wednesday, and if she gets married on her birthday, that's triple delight. You know, I mean, she will not have any problem with this husband that she's going to get married to, you know. It's just like winning a lottery or sweepstakes, you know. That's what my mom told me after I got married to Lolo. I never knew that. That I have to get married, you know, to somebody like that, you know. But because I know my favorite day is Wednesday, that's why I want to get married on Wednesday, you know. And then I said, maybe I should get married on my birthday, so it will be a double celebration. It's my anniversary and my birthday at the same time. And then that all got followed, you know. I met your Lolo, who's a Sagittarius. I got married on Wednesday. I got married on my birthday. And that's why, you know, whatever prediction that Chinese, that was a friend of my mom, you know, they all came true. I went abroad, and my mom, oh no, she will never go abroad, you know. She will be staying here in the Philippines, you know. But look what happened, you know. I mean, I went abroad, and that's really, it's like spooky, you know. I mean, I was only like, 1 month old, you know, when she looks at my palm, and she said something. Because of the line, I think there's some kind of a line, you know, in the palm that she was reading, you know. This is the custom and tradition in our country for weddings. Okay, so we'll continue when your Lolo proposed to us, you know. At first, he went to my mom and my dad. You know, that's the first one that he talked to. Well, he told me already that he's proposing, but we have not, you know, set up any day or any time like that, you know. And so he said, I would like to talk to your parents, you know, and I would like to bring my parents here, you know. So he said, oh, I said, oh, okay, your parents will talk to my parents already. Yeah, because that's our custom, you know. So that day, he brought his parents, he brought 2 of his siblings, and so we ate at home, you know. So my mom prepared a good dinner for everybody, you know. And so they talk about, okay, what day are we going to have this wedding, you know, and stuff like that. So, but we already know what I want, you know. And so then my mother-in-law said, you know, in our country we always have like the dowry, you know, that they give you some kind of a dowry when you get married, you know, like some kind of a token, you know, that is like a gift to the bride, you know. And I said, Well, I mean, we don't really need any dowry. I mean, maybe you can do that later, but we don't really have to do that right now, because she was thinking about like, because they are farmers, but they have lots of land. That this is their means of living. They got workers in their farm. They have this coconut plantation, and they have this rice plantation, and a lot of fruit trees in the province where your Lolo was born. So they got hectares and acres of land, that people are working on. So she was proposing to give part of that to us already. And then I said, no, I said, it's all right, don't worry. I mean, you have many kids yet. We don't really need to have that. But it's like some kind of like a tradition for them. Okay, we're going to do that after we get married. That's what my parents are saying to them, because my parents really, felt that they should be, they don't want to get those things, material things. As long as our kids really love each other, you have to love each other in order to get married in the Philippines. It's not like the Chinese. You're already set up with somebody who you don't even know or even met. But anyway, so we have a good conversation with them, and it was really set up with them. And then this is the way we do it in the Philippines. The parents of the groom pays for everything. Pays for everything, the parents of the groom. That's the custom, even now, but I think now has changed. It's a 50-50 now. But before, the only thing that I'm going to buy for myself is my shoes. And my wedding gown, reception, church, everything else has to be paid by Lola's parents. That's the way it is. Even though you offered, they wouldn't do it. And the reception, he said, you just tell me where we will have a reception. Just tell me whatever you want, and we're going to do it that way. They never argue with anything. I mean, that's how we are, in the Philippines. Whatever the bride wants. I mean, the groom's parents and the family really, they don't like fight about it or argue about it. No, they just, whatever the bride wants. But I didn't abuse them by being so. I just told your Lolo, I said, why don't we just have a breakfast reception? I think it's better. And then we have one of the famous restaurant in the Philippines. We call it Selecta. And they serve, well, it's like a brunch. It's like a brunch, but it's in the morning, not in the evening. And then I choose the church where we're going to get married, which is a beautiful church, which is San Marcelino. That's one of the, because they're like authentic. Everything I'm in the church. I'm in all the glass. That's just beautiful. And then what else? So that was the reception, and then the honeymoon. Your Lolo said, where would you like to go for honeymoon? I said, well, this will be during the summer. This is going to be really hot here. I think we should go to Baguio. Baguio is the summer capital of the Philippines. So we all set up all these things already. It's all set up. So the person who made my wedding gown was my best friend in high school, because she's a good seamstress. And she also did my makeup at the same time. So now I don't even see her anymore. I don't know whether she's still alive or not. I've lost contact with her since the time I came to this country. The last time I heard was, but that was like 12 15 years ago. That was a long time ago. But no, she's really one of my best friends that really did all the things for my wedding. Well, during that time, any kind of gifts, you don't ask them. We don't have like wedding registry. We don't have that in the Philippines. So everybody just bring, the gifts that they will, give you. And you're always very appreciative about anything that you get. The people attending, we have 150 people during our wedding in the reception. and everyone was happy. And it rained that day. And raining that day, my mom said, Hallelujah! And then I said, why, Mom? It's a blessing from God. This is a blessing. And then it stopped. It just rained for that wedding, only for a few minutes. It's not really like, but it's just like an omen for us, that when you get married and it rained a little bit, it's like a blessing coming from heaven. So it rained that day during our wedding. And then, your Lolo said, isn't that something, we have been praying for a rain and then it just came. I said, yeah, and it's during our wedding. So, that day, now I think we stayed in a hotel just for one night, and then we drove ourselves to Baguio City. Yeah, your Lolo drove us there. So during our first time, we are both virgin. This is funny. I don't know why. I don't think I should say this.
We can move on.
I know that your dad is our honeymoon baby. I know that because he was born 1964 and we got married in 1963 in May, and he was born in March. So it's actually 9 months. So I counted it and I said, after 3 months, I said, I don't have my menstruation anymore. And then Dad said, Lolo said, we have a honeymoon baby. And I said, it looks like. So I told that to my mom, and my mom said, I think you're pregnant. So that was it. So anyway, I was hoping that my firstborn should be a boy first. So this way he will be the big brother. If I have a daughter. And the big brother will always look after or over with her sister, and be good to her. And my prayers were answered. So he was my firstborn, and when he came out, he was really, his hair is so thick and curly, like Corinne. I don't know if Corinne's hair was really curly, but this was really thick, very, very thick. But before that, let me tell you about when I was conceiving. I was very, very, I asked a lot of things which I should not be doing, but I cannot help it. It's just a desire. For the first 3 months that I was pregnant, I was asking for food that I never really want to eat when I was not pregnant, and Lolo is always very accommodating. He never says no, even though it's really something that he cannot do it that day right away. And I was just like kind of like, I said, I really want to have that food. I mean, but it's only 7 o'clock in the morning. The store's not even open. How can I get that? And then he has to drive. I mean, he has to go all the way, maybe for an hour, in order to get it. And then your Lord will say, okay, I'll wait until I know the store will open, and I'll go get it. For you. But I don't know why you want to eat that. So early in the morning. And I said, I just have a craving for it. So anyway, so he got it. He got the food that I want, and that's like the lechon, which I know your dad likes a lot. I was conceiving with that lechon. It's the crispy, skin of the pig. And so when Lolo got it, so he came back like almost like 11 o'clock in the morning, and he left like 8 o'clock. So you can see how long he traveled to get it. That was my first, and so when he came back, I lost my appetite already. And I said, I don't have any more appetite to eat it. And then Lolo said, oh my God. But he was still very patient, He just did not say anything after all this travel that he did. That's why I said, your Lolo is really one in a million. He said, you said you want to eat this early morning, and now I have it. You don't feel like eating it, you know. I said, my stomach will be growling if I eat that, you know. I mean, I was just having all this, you know. I just don't feel like eating it. The time that when he came in already with the food, you know. And then one of the things too that I was craving every night, which I was eating anyway, is the balut. You know what the balut is? It's like it's a duck eggs, you know, but they have the embryo, which you cannot even see. I mean, you cannot really, but it's so soft. I mean, it's like a little one, you know. It doesn't have any, you know, any hair or anything yet, but it's just like a small embryo. But I like the taste of it because it's hot. I mean the egg when they call that like in the evening. Somebody will be passing your place, and then they will call balut, balut, and then you know whenever we hear that, I'll tell your Lolo, I said, oh, there's the balut now. Go get 3 of those, you know. And I will eat them all, those 3. And the only one that I eat is the embryo, not the eggs or anything. And Lolo eat the eggs, you know, I mean the yolk, but I only eat the embryo. And then the sauce of it, I mean, there's like a soupy thing there, you know, where the embryo is floating, but it's very hot, it's very warm. So we will just, you know, crack it, and then I'll just eat and that's what I was eating for almost 3 months. You know, I mean, I just love, for 3 months I was conceiving. And that's why your dad is really have a thick hair when he, when he came out. And I think he's the only Filipino that I know who have like hair in the chest, you know, when he was growing up. Because no Filipino have hairy chest, you know. And that's because of the conception when I was doing that, you know, with him. That was 3 months of horrifying things with Lolo that I felt really bad when I was doing that to him, you know. You know, asking him like the true orange juice too, like early in the morning, and I want something very icy. That was one of them too, you know. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I said to Lolo, I said, I feel like really drinking this true orange juice, which is a Coca-Cola product, you know. But I said, I want something that's really like frozen, you know, with some ice in it, you know. and then this store is not far, you know, so he can really go get it, you know. And then he said, you want it now, you know. He's just like very, very accommodating. I mean, I felt like I'm abusing my husband, but I don't know, I can't help it, you know. I just have the craving for it, you know. And so he got it, and then I drank it, you know. I really consume it, you know. And then he said, because I was kind of like very weak yet, you know, during the time that I was having pregnancy, you know. And he said to me, although we have a maid who's doing it, you know, at night, you know, because we are using diapers that are clothes. It's not like we don't have Pampers like it that you just throw away. We don't have any of those. So you have to buy a lot of diapers, and then if he makes poo, you know, I mean, if you're, you know, like when your dad makes poo, then dad has to clean that, you know, and everything, you know. So your Lolo has been doing that for me because, you know, I have to, for 1 month, my mom is with me, helping me out. She's the one doing the cooking, you know, and your dad is normally helping me out with the baby because your dad, when he was born, he was a jaundice baby, you know. So we have to leave him in the hospital for a month. And yeah, and that's why I remember the name of the Dr. Halbuena said, you know, just leave your son here for a month, you know, because he's jaundice and he's also a colic baby, you know. And because, I mean, he was just born, you know, and we don't want anything to happen to him, you know. So if you can, we will take care of him, you know, but you can bring him home after a month. But he has to stay here. I don't know if your dad knows that, you know, because he was jaundice and he was, you know, colic baby, you know. So it took me a month before I was able to get him in the hospital, And so he was, and it was nice because, I mean, he was good in the hospital because nurses are taking care of him, And the first time I saw him, I felt, I really cried a lot. For 1 month, my first baby, I cannot even hug it, And so, but anyway, when he was born, I mean, he was just like, I breastfed him for 1 year because I have a lot of milk, And I said, I think the bondage of the mom and the baby is very close if you breastfeed, and the baby will be healthy, So I've been breastfeeding him, and my mom has been cooking a lot of food that will produce more milk for me, And I know one time I started working when Lolo was almost like 6 months old. I have to go back to work, And Lolo has been working all that time because I have a helper at home, And then I'm close to where my parents live, so I get my brothers and sisters helping me, Like when I went back to work, like Tito Willie, he's dead already, but he's taking care. And then my mom and my dad, they're all looking after him, when he was being left while me and Lolo are working, And so one day, that was my first time to go to work after 6 months of after 6 months that he was born, And I have been home with him all that 6 months with your dad. And he sees me every day, So the first day I went to work, so I put him to my mom and my dad, and then my brother, who is still like going to school at that time, I said, I'm sure he will be looking for me, He has been with me all this time, And the moment I leave, he probably will cry, So I just told my brother, Willie, I said, just give him his bottle, So this way then I will just sneak out, while he's having his bottle, So that's what I did, But oh my God, after he was looking for me, this is what my mom was telling me, And he started crying, looking for me. Oh, crying nonstop, He was doing that already, And he doesn't want to take his bottle and everything like that, And so I don't know how they contact me, But just like what I said, there's no phone yet at that time. I mean, we have a phone, but it's very hard to get a phone because you got party lines, and if the party line is using it, you cannot really go and dial, who you want to call. And so finally, I think they got hold of Lolo, and so Lolo came home already, And my mom said he has been crying and looking for mom, crying all day. He doesn't want to take his bottle. He was just like crying so hard, And so I think Lolo went to a place where he can get hold of me. But at that time, that was my first day to be out. I went to do some marketing and grocery. So I did not get home till 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I should have been home like 4 o'clock. But because I have to ride into a jeepney, public transportation, we don't have any car. So I have to ride on that. And before I get home, it was dark. And so the moment the moment I get, your dad stopped crying when he saw me. That was very, very, emotional for me, The moment he saw me, he just stopped crying, And he was just like, embracing me. He was only 6 months, And then my mom said, he has been looking for you all this time, and he never wants his bottle. So I said, so he has not eaten since the time I left. He said, no, he has not eaten. He wouldn't take anything, And then Lolo took him, and he went out from the house, and he just started walking with him, like carrying him and just trying to pacify him, He just kept walking back and forth into the street, And then he just, mom is coming, something like that, But he just would not stop, And so when he saw me, The moment he saw me, he was just like, I mean, the glow in his face. That's why I cannot forget that, because of the way he looks at me, And he just embraced me, and I know he was hungry because he never ate, for the whole day, and looking for me, and because he was not breastfeeding, really, he was looking for my breastfeeding. So my mom gave me a glass of water right away, and I said, yeah, give me also a glass of milk, so at least, because I just got out from outside, and I want to at least, compose myself first. So that was one occasion that I cannot forget, my first time to be out of the house. And the moment I fed him, he just stopped, and he was really hungry. He really, really ate a lot, And I said, I don't think I can work if it will be like this every day, I don't know how I'm going to work anymore. And my mom said, he will get used to it, so don't worry about it. So just little by little, he will gradually adapt to it, You just have to maybe feed him first before you leave, which I did anyway, And since my office, is only like 10, 15 minutes away from the house of my mom, I said to my mom, you know what I'm going to do during my lunchtime, because we have an hour lunchtime. I said, I think I'm going to go home and feed him. And then this way he can see me. And then even if I leave, then he will be okay, And then I do my breast pump, at the office, so I can have those milk already too, So that's what I was doing until he was 1 year old, Well, we actually planned it, because, we want to be like two years apart at least, when we have the second baby. And yeah, I think Lolo said, well, maybe we should plan for the second baby now, since Linda is already, he's walking now, he's really doing a lot of things now. And we have somebody who's always taking care of him too. I have two maids at that time, one for him, and then the other one who do the chores. Because, Lolo is making good money, and I'm also working at the same time, so we can afford that. And then we bought our first home, in the Philippines when your dad was 4 and Tita Joy was 2 years old only, And it was really far. It is in Makati, where we used to live before. But anyway, that was our first built home. It's a 3-bedroom. It's really a small bungalow, and there's hardly no houses there yet, because it's a new subdivision, But we said, well, this will be our own home now, this is really our own home that we are not renting, because we live in an apartment for, 4 years, after we got married. And so this is the first time, and then I didn't even realize that Lolo applied for immigration here. So we just had our house for like 6 months. The house where we lived there, for 6 months. And then he told me that, okay, he told us like December, that was during the Christmas time, when he told me that we're going abroad. I said, oh, we're going abroad for vacation? I was so happy. Said, oh, really? Where are we going? We're going to the United States. Oh, that's really far. I said, do we have the money to do that, Well, I'm going to tell you something, And then that's when he told me. He said that I applied for residency there, But it's only temporary. We're coming back here, He added that right away. It's only temporary, We're coming back here, I said, oh, what do you mean? I said, we just had the house built, 6 months old only, And we have 2 small kids here, 4 and 2 years old. How can we travel that much? And we don't have any job there. You don't have any job there. I think that's very scary. I don't think I can do that, I was already negative, very negative about it, And then he said, all I'm asking you is just trust me with this. Just 5 years. That's what he said, 5 years. And I said, what if we don't get the job there? What are we going to do? How are we going to finance our travel there? I mean, we're just getting organized with our finances here. We finally have our house built, and now we're going to travel and then leave this house. Now, who is going to live in this house? This is going to get rotten, if nobody lives here, There was a lot of questions I have for him. But I think your Lolo had figured out already, what he would be doing. And that's why, he said, we're going to rent this house. It's still new. And then the car that we have now, we got a Renault car. That's why we were able to buy a house in the suburbs, because we have a transportation already. It's a Renault, it's a small car. We're going to sell that, and we are going to sell our telephone line, which will give us some money, because those money, when you convert it into dollars, that will give us at least $2,000 to $3,000. At that time, the conversion of the dollar is 1:4. For every 4 pesos, it's $1. So he was figuring, if we stay here for 5 years and save some money, or one of my salary, one of his salary, or mine, we will be able to accumulate good savings, go back to the country, and then expand his accounting office. Because he already built up his accounting office, although he doesn't have a lot of clients yet, but he's leaving, all his clients with his sister and brother-in-law, who are both accountants too at that time. So he said, yeah, they will take care of our clients, and if we don't get successful, as I told you, 5 years, it's your take. If you want to go back, we'll go back. If you don't want to go back, then we'll stay. Then we will become American citizen. We're going to change our citizenship, It's your take. It's up to you, whatever you want to do, but just give me 5 years. That's what he said. So I talked to my mom about that. And then, of course, my mom was so sad, very sad, but he's such a good mother, She said, hon, wherever your husband wants to go, whatever he wants to do for the family, just go for it. Don't let your husband go by himself, because that's what I want. I said, why don't you go first? And then we will follow you, once you have your apartment. And then my mom thought, no, it will not work that way. He will be lonely there. He doesn't have his family. You just have to go with him. And the whole family have to go. And that's what Lolo wants too. He said, I am not going. If you are not going, I will stay here. We will just stay here. If you don't want to go, then we will go. Forget the plans I have, Our last day for immigrating here, otherwise we lost it, because we came here as a permanent resident. We don't have to worry. We have our green cards, all of us. They took our pictures. They took immunization. We got all the immunization before we came here, And February 14, that's why I said Valentine's Day is a very memorable day for all of us, because that was the first time that we landed into the United States. February 14, and the degrees is minus 17 degrees. And we are wearing coats that are not really thick enough. It's wool made in the Philippines, but not thick enough to give us some warmth, in that. At first, we stopped in Hong Kong, because that's what we stopped over. So it was like going into a fridge there, It's not really. And then we stopped in Tokyo, and then that's getting to be more like freezer already. But then we got to the United States. Oh my God, it's like being in Alaska, And I said to myself, and then all of a sudden, all our mouth are getting swollen because of the sudden change in temperature from a 90-degree country getting into a minus 17. And then we don't have any ear mop, because we didn't know that we're supposed to have ear mops here. And we have wool coat, but not thick enough to make us really warm, And then my kids are having all these rosy cheeks, and it looks like they're getting like some maybe beaten, by cold, I mean, it was just like, and I said to my husband, I said, oh my God, look at that. We are all getting sick here now, we're still in the airplane, but look at the way what's happening with us. Our mouth are so swollen. And then, of course, the flight attendant knew that that was our first time to be in the United States. And he said, well, you normally will get this experience if this is your first time, really, coming from the Philippines. And so Tita Linda and Tito Ray are the person who picked us up at the airport because they were the first one among all my cousins that came into the United States. Tito Ray was a resident, at one of the hospital, Henrotin Hospital, in Chicago. And I communicated with Tita Linda because she is one of my closest cousins among all other cousins I have in the States. She and I, are both close, and, we grew up together too. So I told her that, we might be staying at your place maybe 1 or 2 nights, and then after that we're going to get our own apartment once we settled and we know where we are. And she said, oh, it's okay, you can stay, as long as you need it. But just let me warn you, there's many people in my in my place now, because, Tita Aurita was there. You remember Tita Aurita? She was living there. That was one of my cousins. And then Lola Mary, who is the mother of Tita Linda, is living there too. And that's only a 2-bedroom apartment provided by the hospital. And then there's Michelle, who was born already at that time, because they're almost like the age of Joy and Dindo, at that time. So there's how many people are there now? 2, there's already 4. And then there's 4 of us coming, And so Tita Linda was saying that, I don't know where I'm going to put you in the bedroom because the bedroom are too small here, And my mom and Tita Aurita is already sleeping in that bedroom. I said, we don't mind. We can sleep in the living room or in the kitchen, wherever there's a space, We will all sleep there together, Just give us a day or 2 at least, And that's what your Lola was saying. I will go out the following day, and try to look for an apartment. He said, he said, no, we really want to have our own place too, So don't worry about that, Just tell Ray to give me a map where I can look and look at the streets where I have to go. What bus am I going to take, I want to go to downtown Chicago so that when I apply for a job, I know what bus I'm going to take, And then, he was just doing all these things, And Tito Ray and Tita Linda are very accommodating. They're so good to us, And he said, don't worry, you can stay as long as you want here, until you find your own place, I said, yeah, I know, but it's very hard, really, when you have so many people living in the house, and it's not comfortable for you, it's not comfortable for us, really doing all this, inconvenience for everybody, And so the following day, Tito Ray gave Lolo an Irma, and then the jacket that's more warm, and then the scarf, and a hat, And so Tito Ray showed him the map, I said, okay, don't get too far from us. So this way, if you need something, we're just very close to you, And so when Tito Ray was able to drive us, drive him, I did not go because I was with them, So they went to different places, And then Lolo saw this big sign, which is almost like a brand new building. It's a 28-floor building, brand new building, which is not too far from Tito Ray. You cannot walk, but it is only like a 5 minutes drive, from where they are. And so Lolo said, I think I would like to apply to, because it says there for rent. It's a new building, And then Tito Ray said, okay, is that where you want to go tomorrow, Yeah. And then maybe we can inquire now just to find out how much is the rental there, and what security deposit do they want, for this one. Because we only brought $2,500 when we got here. And that was a lot of money for us because we sold our car. We sold our telephone line because that time telephone line you have to buy it, And yeah, we sold some of the material things that you can convert into dollars, That's why we just brought 2,500. That's all the money we have, when we came here. When Dad knows already how to get there, what transportation, what bus he's going to ride in order to get to the apartment and to the other vicinity, he said to Tito Ray, okay, Ray, I think I can do it now. I can do it on my own. Go back to your work, I can do it. And hopefully, the only thing I'm going to request you is, since I don't have any car yet, if you can help us, if I get the apartment, get some stuff for us, I have to get pots and pans, I have to get, and the Tito Ray, oh, where you can get everything for a real, Salvation Army. That's what Tito Ray said. And so Dad said, oh, okay, that would be great, how much is, oh, that's not expensive, I mean, you can really get at least a bedroom, Lolo went to the apartment. And so the landlady, who was very nice to us, because she knew that we just came from the Philippines, and we told them that we are not tourists. We have a green card. We are permanent residents here, So I can easily look for a job. I have no job yet. We have some money that we brought here, and whatever security deposit you have, in order to accommodate us, because we have no credit or anything that you can really check on. But just tell me how much security deposit you need, And then if I can afford it, I'll give it to you, So the landlady said the apartment rental is $80 for 2-bedroom. And the landlord said, we need 3 months security deposit since, you don't have any job yet, And then, oh, okay, no, we can afford that, because we bought 2,500, so we can easily afford that. You're talking about times 3 is $240, so we can really do it. So he said, okay, you want me to give you the money now? It's all, it's American Express money, because we don't have any bank or anything yet, I mean, your Lolo really, really studied everything before coming here. He was prepared to do it, So anyway, he said, okay, I got American, American Express money here. I'll give it to you now. Is there anything that I have to sign, so you can accommodate us already and give us the apartment, So they're like, sure. And I said, well, we don't have any furniture that we can really move yet because we still have to go shopping, for furniture. And then the landlady said, don't worry, I'm going to give you a mattress, and then we can give you, some blankets and stuff like that. I said, no, we're planning to buy our blankets already and maybe the pillowcases, and the pillows. So this way we'll have our own. The mattress is fine if you can just, have that for us, So, but the landlord says, okay, but do you need any help about how to get around? They are the people around that time are so nice. You cannot see any kind of discrimination because we are Asian. No, you cannot see any of that. They are all very helpful to you, even in the job, So we did that. We signed up. And I was so happy when we got home, and he said, we got a place now. It's not too far from Ray and Linda, And then he said, I signed up for a security deposit, so he told me everything, what he did, And then tomorrow we're going to go shopping at Salvation Army, and then, and then they will deliver it, And so Ray and Linda went with us. We went to the Salvation Army. We took all the furniture that we need, And then there was this big couch, which is a black couch, I mean, it's not really, Dindo did not like it when it arrived in the apartment. Because when you do that, you can see something floating. We didn't even know when we were buying it. That was the funny one, because Dino loves to be in the couch, And so I think when he started jumping like that, and then maybe it's the dust, I don't know, it's coming out. Oh my God, okay, don't sit there. I'm going to put a blanket there and don't sit in that couch. Well, I came from Salvation Army, so what do you expect, It's not a brand new one. And so, so we furnished our apartment, for 1 week almost that we have been in the United States. And Lolo really did not apply for a job until after 3 weeks that we have been there. He wants to acclimate himself first. He went to downtown by himself, riding all the buses that Tito Ray taught him, how to do. And but of course, the first time he was there, he got lost because they brought him all the way to the south side. And then Lolo thought, oh my God, he forgot to go down when he was in downtown already. He didn't know that was the downtown area. So he went all the way to that blue something. If I remember, I'll tell you. So and then he said to the driver, I said, well, I have to go I went to go down to downtown. Oh my God, no, we passed downtown. That was a long time ago. Well, you just come back with us because we're going back. I think that was the end of the route, of that train, where he was riding. So he came back again with the train, and then the guy said, "Okay, you can go down now. This is downtown." So that was the first escapade that your Lolo did. I mean, the first time that, and then the more he made a mistake, the more he really pay attention to it. So he was there. He was really walking around. Then he go to the store whenever it's really getting cold for him, and he just stayed there. And he came back, and his face is glowing, and he's so happy, and he was saying, "Oh my God, those buildings are so skyrocket, they're so tall and they're all like side by side. It's so beautiful there. He just cannot, but the only thing I notice is all the cars are so dirty. And then all the trees are bare without any leaves because it's winter. But all the cars are very dirty. They don't even clean their cars here. But of course, he doesn't know it's winter. I don't know that either. But I said, that's the only thing I noticed, that all the cars that I've been seeing, while I'm riding in the bus, those people are riding in a car that are so dirty. And then Tito Ray explained that to him. It's winter, and that's why all the trees have no leaves. Well, that was, for me, that was like a big turnaround of our life from black to white. Not knowing the people here, and not knowing how we will be treated, or whether we're going to have a job or not, and whether we're going back to the Philippines, unsuccessful and not having done what we are supposed to be doing here, our goal to do it. Yeah, that was my fear, really, having a 4 and 2-year-old kids. But anyway, we first went for grocery shopping. The first grocery shopping, Tita Lynn and Tito is still with us because we don't have any car yet. And, you have to get into the bus, in order to get to the grocery yet. But Tita Lynn and Tito Ray always offer their help. So we went, $20. You can fill up your freezer and your refrigerator for $20. We got chicken, we got beef, we got pork, then we got the milk, we got the produce, $20. The loaf of bread is only 10 cents at that time. I remember those things, because they're really, I can believe the inflation, how much it is now. But I mean, those are the things, and then just like what I said, we were able to fill up our furniture for paying not even close to $500, getting all those things that we need, for the apartment. So we still got the money, we still have the money, and the transportation that Lolo was paying in the bus is so little too. But then after 3 weeks, that's when Lolo started saying that we got this Underwood typewriter that he rented so he can type his resume, you know, so he can apply for a job. And he said, I'm going to type 12 or 15 letters. And, you know, he went into the yellow page where he can see all the accounting firm, you know. That's what he did. He just looked into that. And then he looked at the address so that it's really in the downtown area, you know, that he's not going because he knows the area of already. He get acclimated traveling there, you know. So he went, and then some of the accounting office are very popular in the Philippines because, you know, our education is taught in English all the time, never in our own language. And we were using all the books from the United States for the accounting, you know, and not only for the accounting, even for law, everything is patterned through the United States, not in the Philippines, you know. And that's the big difference among all the Asian countries. That's why the Philippines is more brain drained compared to the other Asian countries, because I think the Filipino people can talk better English than the other, like Chinese, Japanese. They don't really know how to speak English very well, you know. But in our country, it's so different. Our education is always taught in English, never in our own language. And whenever you are at work, you have to speak English to your boss. We mailed 16 letters with his resume in it, you know. So he went, he asked somebody from the apartment where he can make copies, you know. And then he was typing it in the Underwood, you know. And so the following morning, he mailed 16 of them, you know. So he said, those are the kind of job I'm applying. I don't want a 9 to 5 desk job. I really want to be a traveling auditor, you know. I said, yeah, traveling, Dad. You've never been in this country. How can you travel? I mean, I think that's a lot of guts, you know, to do it, you know. But he said, I will be trained. I'm not afraid of that, you know. People will train me. Well, which is true, really, you know. But I mean, travel, I said, why don't you at least do the 9 to 5 desk job first, and then when you get more, you know, about the United States, then maybe you can apply for another job as a traveling auditor, you know. I said, well, let's see how this, I applied for some 9 to 5 desk job, but most of them are traveling, you know, mostly traveling, because I like to travel, that's what he said. I said, okay. Okay, he got a lot of response from all this. I think at that time, the jobs are plentiful. You have no problem applying for a job. People will interview you, you know, if they find your resume to be really good. And his resume is really good, you know. He has a lot of experience. He has his own accounting practice, you know. So he was given, you know, out of that 16, I think 12 of them respond very positive, and they would like to talk to him, you know. And he chose the one that he would like to interview, and this is the one that's traveling mostly, you know. And he said, I would like to interview with these people first, you know, and see what it is, you know. And said, so what did you pick? And then I saw it mostly traveling, you know. So, oh God, okay. So you're picking the traveling one, you know. Yeah, if I don't get any good thing about it, then I'll go with the 9 to 5, you know. But for now, you know. So he called them up and he told them, you know, that, well, he told them, I have 6 other interviews that I have to go, but, you know, I have to do it one at a time. I cannot do it all at the same time, you know. So I think he programmed himself to have like 2 interviews in a day. That's what he did, you know. So every other day, you know, he has interview that's going, you know. And he studied the place where he's going. He did his homework. He always do that, you know. He did his homework. He studied where he will go, the street where he will, and what bus he's going to take and stuff. It's mostly downtown anyway, you know. And then the last one that really got so retained in his mind is the one that he chose, you know. And he really liked it because he's going to travel all over the United States. It's not only in Illinois, it's all over the states, you know. And expenses are all paid for. The company will pay for the traveling. He is I mean, the hotels, everything, his meals, and his job is an auditor, and which is what he loves. I mean, he's very good with that. And one of the job that he really likes is he's going to approve the whatever he finds in the book of the company. If the company is solvent enough, in order to be given the loan that they're applying for, then he will recommend to the company to loan them this kind of money. That is his job, which is a tough job, I think. I don't think, because if you made a mistake, recommending that company and it turned out to be no good, then you'll be bad. So anyway, so he said that was the job when he got interviewed with that, and then they told him, I said, you have a lot of experience, and I can see here in your resume that you have been traveling in the Philippines too, because I mean, he loves auditing, and he, at one time, he works with the IRS too in the Philippines. So the following day, he got interviewed by the executive VP, and he was, well, you see, Dad has a lot of accent that sometimes it's hard to understand. He already told them, I have an accent, which is very hard to understand. But accounting work is accounting work in any place you go. There's only one accounting principle. He said that. I can do any kind of job, auditing. But maybe I might have a language barrier, because of my accent. But I don't think that's going to be like a negative for my job. Because if I can do the job, I'll be able to do some help to you. I mean, he was upfront. You can see how he talks. Anyway, you can see sometimes Dad's Lolo's accent is very hard to understand. And so the executive VP said, I don't have any problem understanding you. He was so kind to him. And this is supposed to be the boss that he's going to work for, but he did not know that yet. Why don't we start talking slowly first? And then this way, you'll be more relaxed, and then I will be able to understand you better, and faster. So that's what your Lolo did, so he talked very slowly. And then sometimes he can see that his accent was okay, what I meant is this. He will say that to them, And so I understand. And this executive VP was so nice to him, And so the executive VP recommended him to talk to the executive, to the president already of the company, because I think he is, because there are so many candidates for that job, but I think he likes Dad better, than the other ones that he had interviewed, and that's why he's bringing him to the higher up already, and the others didn't even go that far. But I think he warned the president about the accent of Dad, and so I said, okay, we're going to give you a call. I'm going to talk to the last person you're going to interview, and we'll set up a date for you, where you can come in again. And so after 3 days, they called him, and so he went for the third interview. And he was, of course, very nervous. I said, oh my God, I hope he will hire me. I hope my accent will not really jeopardize it, I said, that you will be fine. If the executive VP liked you, I'm sure the president will like you too, Just talk slowly, just like what he said to you. So he went, and the president said, you can do the job. I can see it in your resume. You can do the job, Don't worry. As you live here in this country for a long time, your accent will change, and your speaking will be much better, He was hired. They called him after 2 days, and they said, you are hired for the job. So at any rate, he was trained. He didn't know that at the beginning, but the executive VP, who was very good to him, he's a Jewish, but very good to him, and he was just like a father to him, the way he was treating him, because Lolo was only 32 at that time, and this executive VP was like 52, But he has, as a family, he lives in Evanston. He's got a big house. He's really rich, So anyway, he said to her, okay, Fernando, you're going with me for the next 1 month, and you're going to travel with me, so I can introduce you, to some of the company that you will be involved with, and I want you to see how I do it, and then this way, once you're ready to do it on your own, you can be on your own. So the first month that he was on his own, so he was already in the company for 3 months. He started with $500 salary, And on the third month, Mr. Krugen said, you're doing such a great job, Fernando. And he said to him, I'm going to give you a company car. Company car, all expenses paid for. You don't have to worry about all your gas, everything. You can use that, during family time, and then every 2 years we're going to replace that car, I mean, that's the way, yeah. I mean, during that time, who will give you something like that, And he said, you are really good, I mean, you do a good job with what you're doing, And the barrier that you have is just the language, the English, but it's not a problem as long as you do the job. And then the companies that you have recommended for us to finance, because he can recommend companies from 100,000 to how many millions. If he can see that sometimes he will be there for 1 week, if it's a big company, and if they're trying to borrow money like 3 million, 4 million, I mean, if he finds something that's not really good, he will make a note on that report, and then he will say, I will not give them this much, I will give them only this much, that's the kind of work that Lolo did, So anyway, after 3 months, he said, and also, where do you live? And then he told him that we live in an apartment, in Buena. We came in this country in February. And of course, that's also one of my goals is to get a home, because my kids are always sick on weekends. We want to go, because they always get sick, because maybe of the pollution in Chicago. Every time we have to go out, either one of them has a fever, they don't have mumps, and then they get chicken pox, then they get German measles. I mean, they all have, although we got immunized before we left the country, But, and then Mr. Krugen said, oh, I see, you get the pollution because Chicago is really totally polluted, I'm going to get you and find you a place where you can live, so you can buy it. And then I cannot afford to buy any house yet, I just started the work. Don't worry about that, the company will loan you the money and you can pay whatever amount you can afford to pay monthly, and we will deduct that from your salary. I mean, that's how good he was. He really accompanied your Lolo for weekends. They rode together in his car, and then they went around, and he said, you have to go to northwest suburbs because that's the place which is really brand new, and Santex is building new homes there, and that's a good place for your children. And then your children will not get sick as much as they're getting sick in downtown, Chicago, because you live almost like in downtown, So we finally got, a house. It's a 3-bedroom bungalow. I mean, it's a small home, and I mean, the room sizes, it's only like maybe 1,500, I don't know, but it's a 3-bedroom with 1-car garage, but it will be built yet. And the down payment there, to get a house is 10%, and it was $25,000. That's the amount of the house, that we're going to buy, and it's a new construction. And so Mr. Krugen said, okay, we're going to give you the $2,500, and then the monthly payment for the mortgage, because our mortgage is like, if we pay that with all the interest, will be like 37,000 something, And do you think you can afford the payment, the mortgage plus all the expenses? Because his salary is only 500 really at that time, So it's going to be really tight, but we will manage, I mean, we're going to try to just budget our expenses, And then he said, well, you have been in the job for almost 6 months now. I think I'm going to recommend that raise for you. That's how lucky your Lolo is, So anyway, he said, okay, we will talk about that. Let's get the house first. So your Lolo signed the house, we got the house in 3 months. It's brand new. There's no grass yet, there's no landscaping or anything, but at least we have a house already, And he's got a company car, just like what Mr. Krujan, promised him, So we got a company car, all expenses paid for, everything, oil change, whatever you spend in that car. And it's a very big Ford LTD. It's huge, very big. And Dad said, "Oh my God, I only drove a Renault in our country. This is so big." And he said, "I don't know how to maneuver. Well, I can maneuver because I know how to drive." But he knows the stick shift. But this is an automatic one, And I said, "I think that's even better. I can even drive that, if it's automatic. And he said, "Yeah, we'll get the automatic," because Mr. Krujan asked him, "What kind of car do you want? We can give you a Ford." I mean, all the different types. And then said, "I think I like the Ford because the Ford is very well known anyway at that time, So we get a green one. It's like a very dark green sage color, which is so nice, And I said to myself, "Oh, I will be able to drive a Ford now, I mean, I was just like in love about this, the first car, So, okay, so we got the house, we got that. And then Mr. Krujan said to him, "It, the loan, I think he's only paying like $50 a month for the loan that was given to him with no interest." I mean, that's how good Mr. Krujan was. And so the first house that we were in, we invited him for dinner. So I can cook, something, and he loves egg rolls anyway. So that was my, So he loves adobo. He loves the Filipino food, So he was happy about that we invited him for dinner, And then after 2 years, we sold the Elk Grove because we want to be in a school district where the kids will be good, because they said the school district in Elk Grove is not as great as in Arlington Heights. And so we have to find, a house again and another new construction, So we bought the house for $25,000. And by the time 2 years, there's only a few amount that was taken from the mortgage, And the house that we are looking into is like $55,000, And well, I have a job already at that time because we were able to put the kids into the nursery school in Elk Grove, and I think my son remembers that, when he goes into the nursery school, in Elk Grove Village, we leave them there like 7:30 in the morning, and then I pick them up like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, But I was already working too at that time, So anyway, when we sold, it got sold in 2 months, and the house in Arlington Heights not even ready, because in 2 months' time, I said, "Where are we going to go?" And the buyer would say, "Well, if you cannot give us the house, then we will just go to another house to make an offer, because we sold it for $37,000 in 2 years, that we bought for 25. So there was some profit already there, which we can put a good down payment, on the $55,000 we bought in Arlington Heights. The house there was $55,000. Yeah, well, that's how we keep moving, and then I started moving around, different jobs, increasing my pay, and then Dad stayed there for 14 years in the company. Then when Mr. Krujan died, he died of heart attack, He was really, really young yet when he died, And after 14 years, I think Lolo moved to a different company, and it was one of the executives who used to be in the same company who built up his own company, and he pirated Lolo to join him in that company. And so that's how your Lolo really started getting up in his salary too, with that thing, So we have been really lucky as far as job is concerned. We have no problem, really. I can quit now. Tomorrow I can have a job. That's how it was during our time. Because I can threaten to really quit the job if I don't get what I want, And then the following day, you get into an interview, and then during the interview, they will say, "Okay, you're hired," And that's how easy it is. Okay, then I met several friends when we moved to Arlington Heights. That's the only time I met Tita Dali, Tita Emmy. Well, Tita Pat, actually, I just adopted her like my own sister, because she was my friend from the Philippines yet. And she was working in the same company where I used to work before in the Philippines. And she was only 17 years old when she joined the company. So she was really very young yet, and she wants to also escapade here in the United States, knowing that I'm here already. Well, I just wanted you to know that Tita Pat lived with us, for a couple of years, and that's how we became really close. From that batch, I put them in the nursery school. They were only 4 and 2 years old, and I said to them, okay, mommy is going to work, in order so we can get what you want, because I know you want a TV, you want a big TV, and we only have like a small TV and just like a radio, and so if you will not, the first day that I brought them to that place, I said, because if you cry, you cannot stay here and mommy will not be able to, I have to help daddy to get more money, I was explaining this to them, But of course, this is their first day, they don't really have been to some kind of a thing like that, So I left them and they started crying. The two of them started crying. Joy is holding my legs here, and then and then Dindo was embracing her. Oh, mommy, no, don't leave, don't leave. They just keep crying like that. And then they're holding my legs, and then all the teachers said, never mind, they are like that. All the kids are like that on the first day, so don't worry, we'll take care of them, And so, my heart was broken because they were all crying, And I said, oh my God, I don't know if I can stand this, every day if I have to bring them here and then they start crying like that, And so finally, when I got there, I picked them up and I said, and then the teacher, they did not eat, they did not eat anything, they don't want to play with the other kids, They didn't want to do anything, they didn't do any napping, And so when I got them, then they were so happy, they just grabbed me, and then I said, okay, where do you want to go? We're going to eat at McDonald's, you want to go? No, McDonald's, and they're all jumping together, I mean, that was really a very good treat for them, So there was a close by McDonald's, before we went to the bus. So we ate there, we went there and eat there, And so that was the routine, After that we got to McDonald's, And then the second day, I told them again, I said, please don't cry anymore. Please try to eat with them, and try to do things, if you do want to, And they keep saying yes, yes, but they do that up to 4 days. They were doing that. They were crying. And I was working in a bank already, And the people are always calling me in the bank, we don't think we can really get them for another day because your kids will really get sick. They don't eat. They are always crying. They are always looking for you, I said, okay, just tell them I'm coming home. So I left the office early already, and I said, I probably have to quit my job, because I cannot stand my kids not eating or not doing anything, So when I got there, when we were eating at McDonald's, I told them, I said to Dindo, okay, I'm trying to bribe them already, I said to Dindo, okay, Christmas is coming soon, what would you like to be? What would you like to have for Christmas? So we can get it for you, And then he said, oh, I want the automobile that he can pedal and he wants to ride in it, and that's what he would like to have for Christmas, And then I asked Joy, I said, okay, Joy, what would you like to have for Christmas? I said, I want that tiger, that from Harrisburg, that's a full size, like a full grown, like the size of you, That's what I want. That's what Joy wants, for Christmas, And so, okay. So we were eating, the three of us, because, Lolo is not there with us all the time, And I said, okay, okay, can we make a little deal here? You can have that even before Christmas, you know. That's what I told them, you know. If you just behave, if you will just promise mom that when we get to the place tomorrow, we'll just go there one more time. And if you get there to the place with no crying, and then all of you are going to do what the other kids are doing, you will eat with them, you will do something with them, you will go napping, and then on weekends, when your dad comes home, we're going to shop for whatever you want, you know. And we might not get your car yet, you know, but we can have a TV, a big TV. That's what I told them. Because this is what Dindo really wants to have, a big TV, you know. Because we will be able to get a credit already because, you know, we both have jobs already after 6 months, you know. So I said, yeah, we're going to do that. And Dindo was really jumping. I can see his face there. A big TV? Yeah, a real big TV. A big TV that has a radio, and then there's something here like you can play, you know, all these different, what do you call this?
Cartoons?
No. You can play.
Oh, records?
Yeah, records. So it's like a three-way. Because I was eyeing on that already when I saw it, you know, but it's just too expensive, you know. But it's a real big TV, and then with all those different things, with two speakers, you know. And then I was telling that because Dita is very smart, you know. I said, you know, you remember you see this on TV, you see this sometimes in the store, you know. It's a real big one, and you will like it. And said, if you promise me, just promise mommy that you'll be good already tomorrow, you know, because your sister follow everything you do. If you cry, she cries, and if you don't sleep, she will not sleep. If you don't eat, she will not eat. She just follow everything that you do. So if you do that, your sister will do everything that you're doing. And they said, okay. So he promised really, and I think he's so enthused about the big TV, you know. I said, we're going to get it this weekend. You know, when dad comes home, we're going to get the TV that we want. And so the following, that's why I have to tell you this so you know. I don't know if they remember this because they were only, you know, 5 and 3 years old, you know. When I went there and dropped them off, I said to the teachers, I think they will behave now. And then, you know, the moment I got into inside the house, I mean the nursery, I said, okay, Dindo, you promise? You promise? Yeah. Okay, Joy. He took the he took the hands of his sister. Said, okay, Joy, we're going to play with them. And they started going around. They started going around with the kids, and they were just talking to them already. And then the teacher said, what did you do? I said, I bribed them. If I have known this is the best way to do it, I could have done it earlier, you know. And that was really, oh my God, I cannot forget that. Because that was a big turnaround, you know. They're very, very, you know, they're not shy. You know, and Joy always follow his brother. Whatever his brother does, you know, I mean, she's just really a follower, you know. Oh, and Dindo really takes good care of Joy. When they were growing up, I said, you're the big brother, remember, always take good care of your sister, you know. And if you're making a sandwich for yourself, make sure you always make a sandwich for her too, you know, because she cannot really make a sandwich yet for herself like the way you're doing yours, you know. And one day he did not do it. I was really mad at him, you know. And I said, how can you possibly be so selfish, you know? I reprimanded him, you know. I said, you know, you made a sandwich when we were going to St. Louis, you know, to see the St. Louis Arch, you know. We were traveling for, you know, for entertainment, you know. And I think he made a sandwich for himself, but he probably forgot to make a sandwich. And he had his, his box, you know. And Joy has his box, but only like candies and stuff like, but no sandwich, you know. And that's when I found out that he did not make a sandwich for Joy. And that's the first time I reprimanded him, you know. He said, how come you forgot to make a sandwich for your sister? I let them do it so they will know the responsibility. but I have some food for them. But I just wanted to give them. This is how I've been trying to make them independent and responsible, and be more caring, with one another, And so, I'm so sorry, Mom. He was sorry, really. I said, and I was reprimanding him. I said, you only have one sister, even though, you know, when you get older and your parents are gone, always remember, always take good care of your young sister. You might be old already, but always do that. Always remember you have one sister, And Mom and Dad will not, no, you are always going to be here. He was, he didn't want to hear those things, He said, I'm just telling you so you will love your sister all the time. You always do something that she cannot do. You try to help her. And he said, okay, Mom. Ever since there, he's very good to his sister all the time, And Joy always look up to him all the time. And when he does things, he doesn't tell me when they were in college, when Joy was in college. He will tell his brother, but not us. That's how he respects his brother. Well, I know they want to go to, well, sometimes we go to they want to go to Fisherman's Wharf. We went to San Francisco. We went to several places, really, when they were not married yet. They were still like in college, We went to, we got so many. We went to St. Louis. We went to places where they can have attraction that they can ride, I mean, those are some of every summer we always think about a different place where we can go, or we go visit Tita Linda in Chipo Falls, because, the cousins have a boat and they enjoy that with the cousins, and they go fishing there, and then from there, then they go to the casino, where the Indian casino, which is close by, Chipo Falls. And then, there was a lot of things that we did with the cousins too, And then, just like what I said, every week we have a picnic with my 4 friends. All the kids, they play baseball, and it's a potluck. Everybody, okay, who is going to bring this? So we all have different food that we are bringing. So it's not all the same, And it's all Filipino food, And then during that time, after they play their baseball, then we gamble. We play in between, And the kids who would like to join, they joined, Well, I think success is, you have to think positive. You have to be a positive person. Because if you're a negative person, nothing can happen to you. And you have to be a little bit aggressive. Lying when you're applying for a job, I don't think that's really a negative one, because you really wanted to be hard, and just be honest, be frank, and be loyal to the company who's really good to you, and always ask for something if you want something for raising your salary. Don't be timid about that, I always do that. Yeah, I mean, in order to be successful, yeah, and then you have to be. I mean, you have to gamble too, like Lolo and I gambled about investing in real estate, because we know that Linda wants to be a doctor, and we want them to be in a private school, and the best school in the United States possibly, and the only way we can do that is doing some investments, and then in the long run we can sell those real estate, and then we can use that for them, in order to go to the school that they really want to, and that's how we did. I went to real estate. I took my my license. I go for 3 months, but it is only on a weekend that I attend the classes, and then I finally got my license. And then I started, being with Baird and Warner. Oh no, with Century 21 first, and that was my sideline. But I still have my full-time, job as an accountant, and Lolo is still traveling, and the kids are already grown up, they are in college and whatever, but I said, well, they're already starting in college. And I said, well, I said, we really have to get some investments in order to finance, and if possible, I really don't want the kids to have loans, while they are in college, because they have to pay that back too, Well, number one, because I grew up in the Philippines, hospitality is very important to me. Because in our country, even though you don't know those people very well, if somebody visited you, you always accommodate them, you always offer them food, you don't let them go or leave without taking anything. And even though, let's say, we're all jam packed in one place, and if they really need a shelter, we always try to accommodate. I mean, that's one thing I learned from my parents, So up to this time, being here in the United States, I never lost that, Like, when I got Tita Pat, yeah, he lived with us for 2 years, and accommodating him, And I felt that when you are, because, God is looking with whatever you're doing. I always believe in that, whatever you give, you will get it in return, without you knowing that you're getting it, I mean, that's how I feel about hospitality and generosity, even though, yeah, generosity is number one too, that I really feel that even though I don't have that much money, I try to give for charity, that I still do it, and contribute to the church, anything that will help the church, to make, I mean, generosity and hospitality and kindness and caring for the older one. Because my parents, I know that they cared for their older ones, and I feel that, when I get older, my kids will be doing the same thing, but I don't obligate them because that's not an obligation. I got my own, that I did, So their obligation is towards their children, not to me, But I think because of the way my children saw the way we were growing up, the way I was doing things, they are doing the same thing I was doing, and the generosity that I got from the kids are just, I mean, it's priceless, I mean, you don't even have to ask. They just give it to you, I mean, they just I mean, it's coming from their heart, And that's why, I said to Dad, I said, we raise our kids really good, That that's the only thing I can tell you, I think we really raised them really good, Overall, I think my life is really a very happy life. I think everything I have now, I'm ready to go anytime. I'm happy. You know, I got my grandkids who are so very affectionate and caring and very, I mean, they're all of them. I cannot pick anybody, and even all my grandson-in-law, they're all very nice. I'm so happy with my life, And the only thing is because I lost my husband, who's really my soulmate. But he's looking over me. He keeps telling me, go out, do things so that you'll have a longer life than me, And he wants me to go back to the golf league. He said, when I'm gone, just go back to the golf league, because I know you love to golf, But I was not golfing for 2.5 years when he was sick, And I said, well, I'll try to do that. I don't know if I can swing yet, but, I'll try to do whatever it is. But I mean, Lolo is something who is 1 in a million. I can say that, I'm proud to say that to anybody, I don't think I can find a husband like him. He cannot be duplicated with anybody, And I was telling him, I'm a one-man woman, Even if she passed away, do you think I'm going to get married like what all these people are doing, They have somebody with them, I said, no, you're the only man in my life, And I mean, that's the way I am. That's why, every time I go out now with the cabinet, after he died, I try to go out and then we will go to the seminary before it gets dark, so I can visit him there. But I'm so lucky to have a very good husband, a very good life with him, no regrets whatsoever, and good grandchildren, good in-laws. I mean, what else can I have? No, and we were successful coming here from 2,500 to what we have right now. What else can you say? What else can I mean, material things, when you die, it's all gone. What I really want to do now for the rest of my life is to be more involved in my church, and be more like, if I can help, some other people who really needs it. It's not that, it's just charity for me. But if I can afford to do it, even though a small amount of money, I try to give something, because I just said, I mean, whatever you do for people, all God is always looking over what you're doing, and I trust Him so much on that, and I become very a little bit more religious now than before. I think I'm more like my mom was a fanatic Catholic, and he was, well, she always pray a lot, and I said to myself, I don't think I can do what my mom is doing. But I started doing that, for the last few years. I never thought that I'll be doing this, praying all my novenas. I prayed like for 1 hour. I mean, every day. I mean, it's just something that I felt that I'm not complete if I don't do it. And even we discovered, since they opened the church already, I'm not afraid to get contagious with anybody because I know God will be looking over me. So I try to go there. The only time I will not go to church if it's snowing, because I don't like to drive in the snow. But that's the only thing. But I mean, I just felt that, my life is really, really very complete, and God has really given me a lot of good things. And I'm just so lucky to have all the grandkids. Really, you are really the apples of my eyes, the grandkids. And then with Corinne, oh my God. And John is so good about FaceTiming me when Corinne is doing something. And then, he will have Corinne there, and then Corinne will smile at me, and he was doing that to me. And I said, I mean, these kids are really, if not for you kids, life is meaningless if you don't have grandkids. I mean, grandkids are really, really one of the best. It's like, it's the fruit of your labor. It's like you came from 2 people and now look how many you have. It's like a multiplication, of blessings. That's how I feel about grandkids. This is what Laura and I did. When we first got married, we have a lot of flaws. I have flaws and he's got flaws. So after 1 year that we've been married, Laura and I talk about it, and I said, why don't we just sit down together and then just lay out our cards, what you don't like in me, and I will lay out my cards on what I don't like in you of what you're doing. And let's try to adjust ourselves if we can do that. That was the first year of marriage. We did that already on our first year of marriage, and it really worked very well. I mean, I try to avoid doing things that he doesn't like me to do, but sometimes you get a little bit, and then same thing with him, then I will just correct him. And then being honest with each other all the time, you don't hide anything from them, whatever if he gives something to his parents or I give something to my parents, you always tell them. So this way that you're being honest with one another, and you don't hide anything from each other, you just have to be honest all the time, and of course, faithfulness is also number 1 in marriage, you have to be faithful to each other, and be loyal to each other, no hunky-punky with other women or men, and always pray together. If you can do that, go to church together all the time. Always be together. And that's what we did, and always do it with the family, always family is family. It was one day advance there, but we got here on Valentine's Day. And that's a very memorable first day in the United States, Valentine's Day. And that's why we always celebrate Valentine's Day regardless, We go out to dinner, go to a movie, and that's about it. Nothing luxurious, but we always celebrate it all the time. Well, we just wear our own barong Tagalog, which is, when we get to somebody's house, we wear our Filipino costume. That's all we did. Nothing like, different things that we put, We're representing like Imelda Marcos, Imelda, the president and the first lady. I was wearing, like a gown, and then Lolo is wearing like a barong, That was, it was kind of like boring, but but I mean, who's going to dress us up? We don't know what kind. Well, of course, I love the turkey, but we have to go by the tradition, Thanksgiving is supposed to be Turkey Day, Of course, sometimes we include a little bit of Filipino, but normally I love the way I did my dressing, because I got it from an American couple, because we were invited for Thanksgiving in their house. And the way she does her sauces, the gravy, I'm talking about the gravy, I just love it, And then when I serve that, because Thanksgiving Day is my day for all my friends, because there's 4 friends. One does the Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Easter. So we are all going to their house, when kids are growing up, and then they will remember those things. Thanksgiving is my day, So I make that kind of gravy. And everyone in that family really loved the gravy. But I don't do that now because I don't have that group of friends anymore doing that, I just go along with whatever gravy I have,
I love it. Okay.
I'll be home for Christmas. That's my favorite. That's my favorite song, I'll be home for Christmas, because when Lolo is always out of town, I want to make sure he's home for Christmas, Even though the gift is not expensive, always give something as a thoughtfulness to everybody, regardless of what the amount is. It is the thought that counts, not the material things, not the amount of the gift that you're giving, Just be generous. Generosity is number 1 for us,